have gotten so many angry emails from people saying, I can't save my photo as a JPEG in Photoshop anymore. And I want to help you get to the bottom of this one. This is May of 2021, and we did recently get a very, very small update to Photoshop, but it changed something that can actually be very, very big in the way that we save our photos from Photoshop, especially if you're going to save as a JPEG or something like that. So this tutorial is actually part public service announcement where I'll show you what changed and why, but at the same time, it's going to be part tutorial because I'm going to suggest that if you were saving your photos as a JPEG this way, you were doing it the wrong way, and I want to show you the right way to do it, which hasn't changed and has actually stayed the same. So hopefully you'll learn a thing or two here. So let's go get to the bottom of this. We'll jump over into Photoshop here. And so when we go up here to the file menu, we've got this thing called save and save as, all right? And we've had them there for quite a long time. I didn't even realize this happened until somebody called it out to me. Photoshop updated automatically on my computer, and I didn't even notice the fact that there was this save as copy option inside the file menu now. And sure enough, I went and looked on my laptop, which hadn't auto updated yet, and it wasn't there. So this is a brand new thing in the last couple weeks, again, May of 2021 here. This is a brand new thing inside of Photoshop, is the save as a copy. So let me explain what this does, what's changed, and what could have changed for you. And then I'll get to the tutorial part, which is we really should be going a different route when saving a JPEG. Well, we had save as. So when you go over here to save as, I open up, this is a raw photo, open it up. I might do some changes to it. I think I removed a couple of spots and blemishes inside of it. And by the way, again, this is in May and we are right here in the United States right before Memorial Day. So a big, huge thank you to all of our armed forces, and even a bigger thank you to the Coast Guard. When I was out on my kayak the other day taking some bird photos for flying right in front of a near full moon for me, so I could grab a shot of that at sunset. But what will happen is we go down here to File Save As, and it's going to open up a window, and you'll notice under Format, we don't have all of the formats we used to have. Okay, there used to be JPEG amongst a whole slew of other formats inside of here. Okay, so when I cancel out of this, number one, you'll see it change, and it actually says save a copy right here inside of this window. So you can get there. You don't even have to go to a different place, but I'll cancel out and I'll go to File and I'll go to Save as a Copy. That's going to open up a whole different window that when I choose the different format, you can see there's a whole bunch of different formats in there that you're probably used to, JPEG being one of them. Okay, so here's the reason why I didn't even notice this is because when you look under the File menu and you see the keyboard shortcut for Save as a Copy, it's Command Option S. Well, that used to be the Save As shortcut. And I never even noticed it because I never went to the File menu to do this. I just used the keyboard shortcut. So if I ever did go to File Save As, I just pressed the keyboard shortcut just like I did now, and that goes into the Save as Copy. So number one, that's why a lot of people haven't even realized this, because you're using the shortcut, which I think is the right way to go, and it still takes you to basically the same place, but it is renamed. So why the difference? Well, Save As is essentially going to take this image and it's going to let you save it into a format, a document, because this is a raw file. I can't save over the raw file, so I have to save it as something, and it's going to force me to save it into some type of an image format. Save as a copy is actually what you really wanted if you were saving a JPEG, because very rarely do you want to send somebody the full resolution file that you have here. Again, I'm not going to say you never would, but most of the time you want to save a copy of something and preserve the original. In the case of a JPEG, I would want to put it on social media, put it on a website, send it to somebody, whatever it happens to be, and I want to preserve the original file format, and I want to save a copy. And in many cases, people would go to image size down here, change the size of the image, and then save it as a JPEG, which is really a long way around of doing all of this. So back over to the two parts of this. Part number one was public service announcement. Save as a copy is really what you want if you're going to save it into some type of a different format. And of course, preserve the original file that was open. That won't get changed at all. You're just simply going to save a copy of the file into a different format. But let's get to the bigger problem, which is if you are going to save a JPEG for something, then, and you were going to save as and you were choosing JPEG, you're actually doing it, I think, the wrong way. So let's take a look at what I would suggest the right way to do this is, and that is come up here to File. In fact, let me go to a different photo here, because not only was the Coast Guard AC-130 kind enough to fly in front of the new one, but the helicopter was as well. So we'll come up here to File, and we're going to go down there to Export, and you're going to see something called Export As. So Export wove its way into Photoshop years ago, but I don't think it's really taken off as the way that people save their images into another format, and it should, okay? Because when we go in here to Export As, you're going to see that number one, we get a whole bunch of different options inside of here. Okay, so you can see under format, not only can I save it as a JPEG, but I can do just about any web format that I would want inside of there. I can choose my quality, which is what I would want to do here. I'll knock it down to about what I usually choose, about 75, 80%. And then here's the best thing about it is I can save it into a different size and it won't affect my original. Because again, very rarely would I ever want to send somebody or even post on social media, because social media will knock down the size anyway, and you should do it rather than letting the social media website do it. We'll go in here and I can change the size to something else. So if I'm saving it from my website, I don't want to save a 5,000 pixel image because that's too big. And then we come down here and you can see that I can also put my copyright and contact info in. And here's the other thing. So a lot of times, let's say you came over here from Lightroom or Camera Raw and you have your color profile settings, let's say saved to ProPhoto RGB or even Adobe RGB, but you want to save a JPEG for the web. There's really no reason to put anything other than sRGB onto the web because it won't really get any benefits from it. So now, rather than having to change a color profile from ProPhoto RGB, and that's one more step, I would have to change the size and change a color profile. Now I can go in here and convert this over to sRGB. I can embed the color profile, hit export. It'll ask me where I want to save this, and I can very easily go and save this over onto my desktop. Okay. The last thing that I'll point out here is under File, Export, you will see that there is Quick Export. So it's going to, Ryan says Quick Export as a JPEG. The way that you can get to what your Quick Export settings are to go down here to Export Preferences. And when you click that, it's going to open up another window that lets you put some default preferences in, which is what that menu item will use when you go to export your JPEG. And I've also got a video called 10 Photoshop tips that you need to know. So if you liked the tip that you saw here, please make sure you go and watch that one, because it really does contain some things that you can use in Photoshop that I think will help your everyday enjoyment of the program.